I'm Hazel.
And I'm
And we are back now from our little adventure. We hope you've enjoyed watching the Hurricane Irma evacuation videos, part 1 and part 2, documenting our little excursion traveling halfway across the southern United States. We didn't get as far as Texas, but we did get to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And all of this began last Friday when we were watching the weather reports as Hurricane Irma was a Category 5 hurricane hitting the Caribbean islands and Cuba. And then it dropped down to Cat 4 and hit
The Keys.
the Florida Keys
And Miami.
and Miami and Naples and Boca.
Fort Myers.
Yes.
And it looked like at
Marco
that
Island.
time Tampa Bay will be a direct hit for Category 4. So,
Right. And that was a big concern because if it had gone out into the Gulf of Mexico and gone up the Gulf Coast, it could have strengthened and hit Tampa Bay as a Category 4 storm.
And that would be scary, di ba, Leilani?
yeah. And it was scary for me because I was like, why are we gonna leave? What if my toys get wet? And I was really worried about my toys and my video and
And your
and my-
safety.
Yeah, we were worried about you, about your safety, but of course we also were worried about our stuff. I did take with us our external hard drives, which is where we keep all of our family photographs and videos. I've got like 3 hard drives filled with stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
we
I
took that.
had all the scrapbooks and photo albums
and my books.
and
And your
Leilani's
book,
books and Leilani's doll. What
My
else did
baby
you take,
doll.
Leilani? Yeah.
And so basically we were debating whether we wanted to ride out the storm here in St. Petersburg or evacuate. And I was thinking, by the time it gets here, it may only be, Cat 3, Cat 2, and maybe it wouldn't be awful, especially because all the models were showing that it would go up the eastern coast or possibly right up the central part of the state and weaken. But then there was the European model that showed it was drifting westward and would go up the Gulf Coast and quite possibly into the Gulf where it would strengthen.
Yeah.
And so we decided it was just best to evacuate. Leilani was afraid, and I think you were concerned about it.
Of course.
And so we just thought it was the best thing to do. So we packed up the car and kind of in a hurry and left. And
We forgot all my stuffed animals and stuff.
we had all of her stuffed animals in a big plastic bag, all ready to go. And we ran out the door and left. But they were in a plastic bag, so they were safe. If the roof had come off, it would have rained on the plastic bag.
And I know we're in a hurry because I left my rice cooker not on, but the rice is on the rice cooker.
And our
So
mama
it's like
got
5 days
spoiled.
on there, and it's spoiled, and I throw it away when we come back.
Yeah, 5.5 days, almost 6 days.
There are already things growing on there.
And speaking about the categories, it was a category 1.
Right.
Right. But we didn't know that. I think it was actually a Cat 2 at one point. I'm not sure if it was Cat 1 or Cat 2 here in St. Pete, but it was
That one.
it was much weaker by the time it got up to where we were. So we got out on the interstate, and after we got out of Tampa, it started slowing down a great deal. It was down to a crawl. And so we inched northwards as far as we could. By midnight, we were just reaching Interstate 10, which runs from Jacksonville westward to Texas.
And we were in this little place called Madison, where we had to go to a shelter because there were no hotels around.
Not a single one. And we had to go way into the boonies to find the shelter. You know, we were asking, where is this place? Well, you go into the woods, you go 2 or 3 miles down that way, then you turn right, go another 3 or 4 miles down the other way, and eventually you'll see a church on your right. So we were driving through the darkness, nothing but trees,
Right.
no street lamps or anything. We're just driving through the dark.
It's a place out of nowhere. And they didn't have any blankets anymore, pillows. Oh,
and the people snoring. Oh my
God! It was like a motorcycle snoring.
It was loud.
It was. Oh, that was a painful experience.
And the cots. I don't know if those were army cots or what they were.
What cots?
The cots that we were sleeping on there.
Oh, the cots.
Yeah.
They made noises when we got on them.
Yeah, if you roll over or move around, it goes creak, creak, creak.
That was the snoring. That was the snoring. Oh my God, nobody can sleep there.
No, and it was cold. Yes, it was. It was cold. We had no blankets, no pillows.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but those are just the tablecloth that they gave us.
It was a bed sheet. It was not a. And it was really
not
a tablecloth.
Comfortable at all.
It was not a blanket.
I was comfortable with it.
Oh, Leilani slept. You slept.
She had fun, but the rest of us not so much. So we were only there 3 hours, from midnight to 3 a.m., and I couldn't take it anymore. I was wide awake, and so we left. And
the people there were nice.
Oh, they were very nice,
Yeah,
and we're grateful for a place to crash for 3 hours.
I used the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah,
and they gave us a little bit of food and coffee and all that stuff. So that was good, very kind.
I got some snacks.
Mm-hmm. But then it was time to get back on the road, and our plan was to get to Mobile, Alabama, and find a hotel. Surprise, surprise, when we got to Mobile, there were no hotel rooms anywhere. We called around into Biloxi. They were filled up. And so
that was the next town, right? Biloxi, Mississippi.
That's next state, too.
Oh, next state.
Next town, next state. And then after that, we were looking into Louisiana, and we finally found a room in Baton Rouge. So we made the trip out there and was able to sleep finally in a nice sized bed, and that was very comfortable. I have to stop this here. Okay, incoming call. Okay, so so we were able to sleep in a king size bed, comfortable room, get showers, and it was the La Quinta Inn Suites, and it was nice.
And we went Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
We did. We went around and around and around Baton Rouge because that idiotic computer program, the GPS navigator in our cell phone, was faulty. It would say, turn left here, turn right there. And so we would turn left and right, and it wasn't anywhere near where we were supposed to be. We were just going around in circles. It would tell us, turn left at such and such street. Well, we passed that street 30 seconds ago, so you can't just make a U-turn and go back. You have to find a way down the street and get back somehow.
Yeah, it's probably because Sprint doesn't have a signal there, and
Yeah.
that's why the satellite's kind of delayed.
Yeah, everything was delayed and wrong directions, and it was very frustrating. We got kind of seriously lost like 3 times. And then finally I found out that one of the places we were trying to get to, which was Walmart, was actually just down the street and around the corner. But we didn't know that, and the GPS took us like an hour and a half out of our way before we finally found the
Well,
thing.
it's also hard. The street signs in Louisiana is also very hard.
Yeah, the traffic was heavy.
And the roads are narrow.
Yeah.
And I was sleepy.
Yeah.
And we were all sleepy, I think.
And there's a bridge,
Yeah.
and then
And plus,
takes you to nowhere.
we don't know where anything is, so we're looking around. And where are we? So when we finally made it back to the hotel again, we were really grateful for that.
Yeah.
So we had 2 good nights at La Quinta. That would be Saturday and Sunday night. And then Monday we started out again. Was it Monday that we went?
That
or
was
Tuesday?
Monday. That was Monday when we decided we have to stay the night at Pensacola because the storm is not yet over.
Right.
Remember?
We wanted to get closer and closer to home, and the storm, by the time it made it up to Pensacola, Tallahassee area, it was now a Cat 1. And so we thought, well, if we start now, then by the time we get to Pensacola, maybe there's a room open somewhere that we can stay in, and the storm will be mostly gone, and then after spending a night in Pensacola, we can start out again on Wednesday, and there won't be much weather or much traffic. Well, that didn't quite go according to plan either. We did get to Mobile just in time. We had 1 hour left to see the battleship USS Alabama.
And we got to go on it.
We got to go on it. That was really cool,
Tell them
wasn't
your
it?
experience at the ship, Leilani.
Wasn't that cool?
Was
Yeah,
it?
and then when I went to the studios, I was like, downtown.
It was windy.
It was
You
very
can
windy.
feel the hurricane over there.
Yes.
It was hurting my legs.
It was cold. It was a cold wind.
Yeah.
Here we are it's Florida. Well, actually Alabama there, but
Right.
close to Florida. You would expect some warmer weather. No, with the hurricane passing through, it was cold. And it was, in the 60s with cold, blasting wind, probably 35, 40 miles an hour wind.
Yeah, it was scary. I thought I'm going to
I
be
had to
blown
take off
away
my
by the
hat.
ship.
I had to take off my hat or it would have been blown overboard.
And they kept on shouting to Leilani, "Hey, Leilani, get out, get out!"
She was going over by the railing, looking over the side,
That's
and we're saying,
dangerous.
"Come back."
That's dangerous.
So, anyways, we took a tour around the Alabama. We looked at the submarine USS Drum, and they have all kinds of aircraft and armored vehicles there. Someday we'll have to go back and spend a whole day there because it was really cool.
Yeah, we haven't really get a chance to go to the submarine.
No,
What's that called?
the USS Drum.
USS Drum.
And finally, we got in our own house because you can tell because of the picture.
Yeah, we did finally make it home. We stayed another night in Pensacola, and that place was like a 2-star hotel.
It's the only place open.
It was the only place open, so I'm not complaining. But,
Only.
the furniture was like from the 60s, and I don't think it's been cleaned since the 60s. But anyways, we made it back to Florida, and then going down I-10, which is normally a pretty open passageway, it was bumper to bumper, just like when we were going down I-75 out of Florida. Now we're going down I-10 into Florida, and again, it's bumper to bumper traffic. Literally, we were going anywhere from 0 to 20 miles an hour most of the time. Every once in a while, we can get up to 30 miles an hour. Wow, I'm on a roll.
Yeah.
But it was stop and go the whole way.
And then it was a painful 8-hour trip, right? From
It was more than 8 hours because we left Pensacola at
8.
8, and we got back to Florida.
You mean the Florida,
St. Peter's.
Georgia? The border. I'm talking about the
Oh,
border.
the border. Yeah, I don't remember when we got to the border. But we made it back to St. Petersburg Wednesday morning at
Like 10:30.
9:30 or 10:30, something like that. So anyways, we made it back, thank God, knock on wood. Made it safe and sound.
Our roof is not leaking.
Yes, they had refinished our roof about 3 or 4 months ago, so it's sturdy and there was no leakage. There was an oak tree out front that lost one of the limbs. Fortunately, it fell into the street rather than into the parking lot where other people had their parked cars. Because it was only a Category 1 hurricane, or 2 maybe, in St. Petersburg, there was no roofs removed that I saw. There are a lot of downed trees. Everywhere you go, there are trees uprooted and broken in half, down power lines. Every yard, every home at the driveway has a pile of broken branches and piles of leaves. We were without power while we were gone, but a few hours before we returned, they got the power back on, so we didn't miss out on that at all.
And finally we got internet, because one time we lost the internet. Now we got it back again.
Yeah, the internet was out. That was the only inconvenience, was no internet, and they got that back on Saturday.
We were really one of the lucky ones, because still a lot of people don't have power today.
Yes, even now.
Yeah.
And today is Sunday. So basically, would I have done it again? That depends on whether I could see that it's a Cat 1 or Cat 2 instead of a Cat 4 storm, because categories 4 or 5, even a Cat 3, can take roofs off of houses. They can be pretty scary. But a 1 or a 2, probably not, because I've lived through several of those here in Florida.
So?
But at the time we walked out the door, we really were expecting a Category 4 hurricane to come into Tampa Bay and hit us. And I don't want to be around for that. Right?
Yeah.
So it was a wild ride, and it was a long, exhausting ride, especially for me. I'm the one driving, so it was a bit tedious. But thank God we made it safe and sound, and our little one is happy and well, and so.
And we went to the pool today.
And she's really happy because her banana tree was there.
Amazing. Her banana tree is unharmed. It even has bananas on it, so
that made Alani happy.
Yeah, she was so happy to see that.
And when we got there, our parking lot was filled with leaves.
Yeah, there are a lot of leaves and branches still lying around, but it's getting back to normal now.
Right.
So, thank you for watching. We hope you like both videos, and please subscribe and come back and visit us again.
And give it a thumbs up.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
What did you say?